If you're going through another data analytics or machine learning or digital marketer certification or bootcamp, you may be wasting your time. The world has changed with AI dropping and just decimating the job market. And there are things out there where you can pursue that may waste your time versus things that are now in high demand, that pay very well, and there's so many jobs out there for them that it's much easier to get a job in this field and make more money than doing all these other things. So in this video, we're going to cover some of the things that you can do to really up-level your career or get your first job and get your foot in the door to this digital marketing and data analytics world and help you get that six-figure salary one day and do something that you enjoy that also pays very well. And the best news is, no, you don't need to learn any fancy coding skills whatsoever. We're going to be covering the different levels of climbing that career ladder. We're going to cover how AI has changed and impacted everything. We're going to cover a little bit about my story, and we're going to cover some advice on how you can really up level and what I would actually focus on learning in this day and age, this new era with AI. So let's get into it. You're probably wondering, who am I? About 9 years ago, I went from someone who was basically working close to minimum wage as a busser, sometimes a waiter, but mostly a busser in the food and dining industry, to now I've worked 9 years in digital marketing and data analytics. First as a standard digital marketer for an agency, and then I up-leveled, more than doubled my salary, and now I work in digital marketing still, but I do a lot more data analytics and data-related tasks and reporting. So the official job title is marketing analyst, digital marketing analyst, you can say, which involves a lot more data and reporting, but still a lot of digital marketing skill sets. So let's just get into it. How exactly are you going to actually level up and improve? Well, first off, I've helped coach different people on the side to help them improve. And if you want to get coaching, or if you're ready for that yourself, there's a link in the description to learn more. But one of these students really wasn't sure where to start, and I really helped him out by explaining how to actually level up in this field. There's different levels to it, and you have to be patient and get to each level. And with this student, we started him off at the first level, which is the level that you really want to be at when you're really going to get started and get your first job or role in this industry. The first thing is, I think you have to get through this big myth that a lot of people have. People believe this myth that you need to have this certain level of certification or boot camp or course, and that is how you're going to get your foot in the door. But really what ends up happening is you spend all this time investing in these things, and now you have a resume and a certification like the 100 other job applicants on the market. So it's not really as remarkable or as impactful as you think. Now, don't get me wrong, some boot camps are valuable. It's a case-by-case basis. I did run into this one boot camp when I was in Miami that seemed to be pretty good, and it was helping a lot of people who went through it get jobs in UX designing and programming and stuff like that, and they had no background before. So it is possible. I think one guy was an Uber driver before, and now he's working in UI and UX and data. But this type of stuff, it really is a case-by-case basis, because there's so many certifications and things that really just aren't worth the investment. What you really want to do is actually show your skill set and your initiative and your passion and real-world results, and that's really what's going to help you stand out. This is what I teach my coaching clients, and I say this a lot in my YouTube videos. When you're crafting a resume, a cover letter, or you're speaking in person in a job interview, you have to come across like someone who can deliver real results. And one way of doing that is showing real numbers. For example, hey, I built this TikTok account and I grew it from 0 followers to 31,000 followers. And that is a tremendous growth, and on top of that, I was able to increase the engagement from my posts from last year from maybe 5 comments to 17 comments, which is over 300% on average. So these are real numbers, real percentages that you can actually check my TikTok if you want. But the point is, these are things that are going to be better and you can prove them than just saying, hey, I took this certification, or I did this and that. What they care about is not anymore these degrees or these things, but real results, even if you have to build those results yourself with your own personal projects. So why is there such a shift in the market? Certain things that used to be helpful and valuable, maybe it's a machine learning course, but now they're just not as well seen in the job market. What's the deal? It's pretty obvious. There's really no number 2 answer. The number 1 answer is AI coming in and wrecking the job market. I looked at a few studies and research and statistics, and I found that for digital marketing jobs in the last couple years, there's been a decline of about 10 to 20%. And this is something that has happened like literally pretty quickly as AI just came into the field and got better and better. Now, it isn't a complete decimation of the market, but it is a noticeable decline. Now, why is that? Why are there less of these jobs? Well, when you look into it, these jobs are very much entry-level jobs, manual, repetitive labor that AI has the ability to basically outsource. So this is a field where you really need to start stepping away of. You need to get away from the grunt work and to the higher level leadership strategy type of work that's harder for AI to replicate, that requires creativity, very effective business decisions, and understanding the numbers and then making effective decisions off of those numbers. So this is really where you can come in, whether you're trying to be a marketing data analyst or a digital marketer. Where the real pay is not the grunt work. It's getting beyond that to that higher level strategy. So let's cover the different levels. So level 1 is the entry level market. These are the button pushers, the tool users, the people who are doing those basic tasks, as I just mentioned, that now AI is replacing. Whether that's building some basic charts in a data viz tool like Google Looker Studio or Tableau, to answering basically managing ads, or another big one is search engine optimization. That field is being decimated right now, and that would be stuff like doing research on the best keywords to target and then sprinkling them throughout a new article you wrote. That would be a standard SEO task for Google search rankings that is now just being decimated by ChatGPT and Grok and Perplexity. Why do these when these other tools are going to be replacing your jobs anymore? And so that's a field that you would want to start to step away from and pivot. And yes, you might be like, oh, well, I still see SEO jobs on LinkedIn. I still see people with SEO job titles. I'm telling you, that's just because the market's still a bit slow, but the trend is you're seeing a lot less job postings for these, and of those, these are people who are still a little bit slow behind the times and haven't caught up or really understood how they can basically outsource and replace that with an AI tool now. And that's happening more and more, and you have to really be careful to make sure you aren't in a field that gets decimated and you get replaced. The good news is if you choose the right levels and the right areas, AI is not going to hurt you, it's going to help you, because with certain skill sets like data analytics strategy, AI is creating more, not less, more job opportunities. So having a data analytics background is very advantageous compared to the average marketer who is just, a creative. So that's level 1. Level 2 is basically when you are now the problem solver or the insight hunter. So you're not just pushing buttons, but you're in there and you're actually answering pressing questions that the marketing team wants to know. Why are sales going down? Why are sales flat? Why are sales or traffic or engagement going up? Side note, having worked with a lot of clients in the agency world, it's usually they're usually asking why it's flat or down. If it's going up, they're usually not complaining that much. But they still want to know why. So you need to figure out why. And really the question behind that is not just why, but how can we replicate this? How can we reverse this? What's causing this? And that is something that requires a lot of digging sometimes, and it is very beneficial. I did a whole SEO investigation on a giant site recently that was tanking in traffic over the last few years and months, and it freaked out leadership. But when you really looked into it, you figured out why, and it was a complex story because it was a massive site. It was ranking for a lot of different terms, and you really had to peel back many layers of the onion because there's so many things it ranks for in different ways. Google Maps, Google Snippets, all these different keywords, thousands of keywords. So it took a lot of work to figure out why the traffic was falling and for what pages. And that's how we were able to figure out what we could do to recoup and recover from this. So that's level 2, and we're starting to get more valuable. So that's where you want to move into. But level 3 is really the strategic communicators. They shape strategy, but they're also very effective storytellers and communicators. This is something I'm still working on, but I've made strides in, especially because I've been able to get a lot of feedback, sometimes a bit harsh, but from my managers, from my peers, after I deliver a data presentation during a call, and then privately I get some feedback afterwards. For me and a lot of people stuck in level 2 or 1, the problem is that they're so focused on data, but they aren't good communicators. So because they're so immersed in data every day, when they go to a leadership team and they present, they say all this stuff that they think makes sense, but the leadership team is not in all these spreadsheets every day. So it just comes out overwhelming, too technical, very analytical, and the message gets lost. I remember one time I literally poured out a spreadsheet with tons of tables way too early in the presentation. I got some feedback afterwards from my manager. Don't do that again. Their eyes glazed over. They're overwhelmed. It was too analytical. You may understand that, but you need to, make it more digestible. So those are things that storytelling, effective storytelling is crucial for. Humans thrive and are really receptive to stories. And so you need to package this in ways where a leader, a marketing team can actually see this and understand it and then find the impact. Your words, your data, your insights may be valuable, but if you can't convey that in an effective way to other humans, which is something AI is getting better at, but it's not replaced humans, you can really up-level the playing field. Try and think of AI not as something that will replace you, but as like something that will help you. And then also focus on the areas where AI is hard to replace you in. And then you just may be able to stay in the job market much longer. Who knows? Maybe AI will replace all our jobs one day. I'm doubting it, but point is, you want to stick in there as long as possible. And guys, you got to study storytelling and really understand story structure. The most basic story structure is a 3-beat structure. We started here, there's a call to adventure and a problem, we solved the problem, and now it's a successful day. Guys, this basic story structure, and it gets more complex if you want a full Joseph Campbell hero's journey, but the point is, this basic story structure is something that a lot of people don't know, even experts. I remember I bought this personal brand course. It was a personal brand course that basically helped you build a successful personal brand on Instagram. And I remember in a video, the expert guru was basically claiming like his video recap of this event was a story. And he's like, look at this, all my videos and photos tell a really effective story. And I remember asking in a Q&A call, like, why is that a story? It's just random clips showing a montage of the night at this, party event, this gala thing. And he was like, it's a story. There's the backdrop, there's the event. What do you mean there's no story? There's music, it's setting the stage for it. And he personally didn't understand story structure. Even this guru, he just thought like showing like different aspects of the event was a story. But it's a bad story if it is one. There's no real challenge or problem or villain. It's just, hey, look at me, I'm having a great night at this gala. And I'm going on a bit of a rant, but the point is storytelling is incredibly important, and so many people don't understand it. Some even think they do, but they don't. And that's why they're ineffective and they can't get to level 3. And level 3 is really where the salaries really take off. Guys, if you guys want to up level your career and get your foot in the door in digital marketing and data analytics and get jobs like I do, once again, link in the description for one-on-one coaching. If you're not ready for that yet, there's a free email newsletter where I share exclusive advice that I share nowhere else to help you get started and beyond. That's also in the description. And if you just want to stick around on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.